Girl, real talk. This whole "it's a new year, time to reinvent myself" trash is not the vibe for 2024. You can find someone who loves you for you, as you are. You don't need to read a stack of self-help books, only eat sad salads, or start meditating at 5 a.m. to be ready for dating. So yeah, my advice is to download Bumble and find someone who embraces you the way you are right now. Let me know how it goes.
Listen to the 48 Hours podcast for shocking murder cases and compelling real-life dramas from one of television's most watched true crime shows. Go behind the scenes of each episode with award-winning CBS News correspondents and producers in Postmortem, a weekly deep dive. Listen to 48 Hours wherever you get your podcasts.
A note to listeners, the following podcast contains content that may not be suitable for all audiences.
We did get to speak to Vincent with the BIA, who is the lead agent on the case. And we were very, very impressed with what he was able to disclose, which wasn't much, but it made us both feel very good.
And I was so amazed on how many people actually are missing in Oklahoma. There's almost 600 and something. That is insane. And for them not to know nothing.
You are listening to Partners in True Crime. We are your hosts, Rob and Cindy Dorfman.
We want to welcome you back to the podcast. We've been taking a break due to a few other projects that we've been working on in the true crime space that we will let you know about soon. But there isn't a day that goes by that we are not focused on Molly and Colt's case and all of the elements and people surrounding it.
A lot has happened since we launched the podcast almost a year ago, and there's been a lot of movement on the case in that time. Some of it good, some of it bad, and some of it just completely confusing. But one thing is for sure. Paula, Misty, Cindy, and I have not given up to find answers to what we believe is a horrible crime committed against Molly and Colt.
Today we're talking to Paula and Misty, who a couple of weeks ago went to an important conference that was put on by both federal and state law enforcement regarding missing or presumed dead people in the state of Oklahoma. We are very curious about their experience, so let's talk to them. So it's been a pretty eventful couple of weeks for you guys. Not only was it Molly's birthday a couple of days ago, but you also went to an event for missing and exploited children in Oklahoma City. So why don't you guys tell me what happened when you went to that event, and did you meet anyone significant? Did anything come up about Molly's case? Give us the highlights.
Okay, well, there was several different agencies that attended the event. The U.S. attorney was there. The BIA, the agent on Molly's case, was actually there and spoke at the event. The city Stillwater Police Department was there. OSBI attended. The medical examiner's office was also there. And they all spoke at the event. It was almost the 10-year anniversary for Misty and I, of Molly's disappearance. So it was kind of important for us to go. We did get to speak to Vincent with the BIA, who is the lead agent on the case. And we were very, very impressed with what he was able to disclose, which wasn't much, but it made us both feel very good because we could tell just in the short amount of time the BIA has been looking into the case, the knowledge he has about the case. And so that was pretty impressive, wasn't it, Misty?
Yes. I mean, even going over the phone records, he was very quick on responding when we would ask him about a certain call, and he knew. He did his homework. I was real impressed with him. And just by the way he was just wanting to start from ground up. He's not taking in anybody's theories. He's wanting to do his own work. And I was real impressed about that.
How did that make you guys feel, like after all of this time, to finally have someone with fresh eyes and passion for the case and starting from the ground up? I mean, you haven't had that in a very long time, if ever.
And he's more focused on the fact than anybody telling him something. He's not going to listen to anybody telling him anything. He's all about the facts. And even he's worked out a timeline from those phone records, from incoming calls to outgoing calls. I mean, he was on it, wasn't he, Paula?
Yes, he was. He was. Misty had asked him a question. She said, "Do you think that car was moved?" He said it was moved. And the way he described what he knew, this man has 36 certifications. He's a fairly young man, but I mean, he's very, very smart. He is just a very smart individual. And the things he knows and the way he could determine by the marks on the car, he knows that car was moved prior or after the police chase, but prior to it being found. So he could tell by the scrape marks on the car which direction the car was moving at during the police chase, the way I understand it. And Misty, correct me if I'm wrong, but then, you know, when the car had backed up, the way the striations on the car were, he described it, and I'm sure I'm not giving it justice.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. That's interesting because that's, you know, I was kind of up in the air about it. I remember, you know, we talked to Jody about that. Mm-hmm. She's convinced the car.
I was
moved.
Convinced too. There was no
Cindy.
doubt.
I was the only one, but I was kind of like I could go either way. But that's interesting that's one of the things he shared with you because that's kind of interesting.
I had thought that all along because of the lady that lives there close to the property, Luann Wilson. She would have seen that car there because it was like 200 yards south of her fence line for where her barn was. So I knew she should have known, you know, that car was there for however long, you know.
Was a little too convenient that the day Paula was out there looking, you and I think you were there too, Misty, right? When you guys were...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
You guys are out there looking, and then all of a sudden, turn around the corner. Oh, look, there's the car. I mean, it's a little coincidental. It never sat well with me. So I'm very happy to hear that he has come to that conclusion because it never, ever felt like that was the truth.
Right. You know, Misty and I were there the day the car was found, and a lot of others in the family, we were all out looking that day. And then once we got the call that car had been found and we met up with the deputy out on Pike Road, I mean, it was a very unusual interaction, honestly. I mean, Misty and another girl who was there with us, they just went off on this deputy and was screaming at him to show us where the car was. And he just refused to take us to the car. And this could not have been, Misty, what do you think? We probably an hour after we initially met with him and told him about the car to when we met with him out on Pike Road was maybe, what do you think? Maybe 2 hours?
Yeah. And then all of a sudden the car come up, you know, found the car. That was not a coincidence.
Yeah. So it was interesting that Vincent had come to that same conclusion. So I'm really anxious to see what other conclusions that match up with some of the things that we've always thought, you know, have come about, you know. So that was very interesting. Also, there was a lot of families there who have missing loved ones, and we're not just talking children, we're talking adults, you know, and a lot of them had very similar stories to ours, and that, you know, in the early days, nobody was listening. Nobody was taking them seriously, that their loved one was missing. Well, they'll show up, or they're an adult, you know, they have a right to go missing, that kind of thing. And so but they could never get someone in law enforcement to listen to them. And what was kind of took me and Misty aback was the U.S. attorney got up to speak, and he was to my right. And so Misty was on my right, and she was kind of facing an opposite direction, you know, toward the other direction from me. And he got up there and he introduced himself, and then he began to say, I first want to say, if any of you individuals in this room ever have a situation where someone in law enforcement is not taking you seriously, not listening to your concerns, yada, 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 you call me. I will make the phone call. They will listen to you. He said, the stories I've heard here during this meeting has just been incredible. He said, so you get in touch with me, I will make sure that your concerns are heard. And I was bawling, and Misty turns around and she's bawling, and it was like
something hit us and just struck.
Yeah, it was like, where were you when we needed you?
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
It's really emotional.
It was very emotional for Misty and I. And Misty had brought a picture of Molly, like an 8x10, and it was sitting right in front of us, facing out. And everybody that got up there to speak would stare at that picture. And a couple of them would tear up, you know, and just look us in the eye like, we see you, you know. It was like so reassuring, you know, how they made us feel, you know, that
Good.
it's going to be okay, you know.
So it felt authentic.
Oh, most definitely.
Okay, good.
I think so. What about you, Misty? Did you feel that way?
Yeah. I almost felt like he was talking to us. I mean, it was that emotional, like he was just saying, I'm sorry, you know, for the way y'all were treated, because how in the beginning, how we were treated. They wouldn't help us. We couldn't get no help. Everything got, you know, thrown in the trash, didn't want to deal with it, you know. And
it's disgusting what happened. And it happens so many times.
And as you saw on that event you went to, there was a lot of people like that. How many people were there?
Oh gosh, there was probably, what do you think, Misty? Probably 15 families or more?
Yeah, there was a lot of people there.
Wow.
Yeah. It was I've been to every event except one, and then they didn't have it for 3 years because of COVID.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the biggest I've ever seen it. And considering this is the first year back since COVID, I'm surprised at the turnout that it had. And it was really good to meet these people.
So you spoke to some of these people? You shared experiences?
I spoke to a woman. Misty, you and Macy had already left, but it was toward the end. The Estep family spoke. Their son went missing the day before Molly and Colt went missing. And he went missing in more eastern Oklahoma. But we became very close in 2014 when we met for the first time at the missing person event. And we have kept in touch ever since. And so their family was the main spokespeople of the missing. Their son was found in 2017. And they got the call. They got the notification that he was found while we were at the missing persons event in 2017.
Wow.
Yeah, it was just incredible. And they didn't have confirmation. They didn't get confirmation until the next day. But however, it was found very close to where their son's truck had been found. And I had gone out with the father to organize a search in the location, and we went and scoped the place out and figured out where we were going to have it. However, there's more to that story, but that irregardless, they spoke at this event. And when the father spoke toward the end, he said, if there's anybody in this room who, you know, you have any questions, you want to know where to go next, you want to know this on the level of a family member that's got a missing person, get in touch with my wife. And he introduced her, and then he introduced me. He said, or get in touch with Paula Fielder. These women know how to do it. They know how to get people to listen. So after that, you know, we closed the event, and then a woman came to me wanting my phone number, and her husband went missing in November from around, I think it was like around the Lawton area, and just disappeared off the face of the earth. I think he's 73 years old, and just disappeared from home. No wallet. His wallet was there. Everything was there. This woman is just devastated because she has hit barriers with law enforcement to help her. Most of the searches and things that were organized for her. And, you know, they're pillars of the community. And so a lot of people came out to help and such, but they never found him and still haven't. And so to listen to her story and see the devastation, it's like, what do I do? Where do I go? I'm at a loss. And, I recommended what I've recommended to others in the past who I've spoke to is, first of all, they've got to start a Facebook page. They've got to get the attention, people to know about this, and, the right person might see it. I immediately shared his flyer onto Molly's page. I took a picture of it right there
I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, I took a picture of it at the event and shared it to Molly's page that day. So I'm hoping she has not reached out to me, and I won't reach out to her because I don't want to interfere. But if she needs me, I'm always here for her. So just some of Misty, the MMIW, Missing Murdered Indigenous Women.
Yeah. Okay.
There was a group of them there as well.
Wow.
And do you recall what the bills that they are trying to get passed right now?
No.
Yeah, I don't recall that either.
Well, I'm sure they're listed on their website, or definitely people can find it online.
Yeah, those are some smart women. I sit and listen to them talk, ask questions and talk. And they are some really smart women. Somebody I'd really like to know, and be on my side. I'm glad they're on my side.
Yeah. So it was an empowering, it was just one day, right?
Yes.
So it was a pretty empowering experience.
Oh, yes.
Good.
That's great.
Yes, I was highly impressed, and I was so amazed on how many people actually are missing in Oklahoma. There's almost 600 and something. That is insane, and for them not to know nothing.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
Where these people are.
No,
That's a lot of people.
It's a lot of people. It's like when Paula, you spoke to Mr. Kessie. Same thing. You know, when Jennifer Kessie went missing in Florida, the first day, they didn't help them. The police did not help them. The second day, they really didn't help them. And it's those first 24 or 48 hours, the most crucial time.
Yes. Yes.
Once you lose those hours, they could be anywhere.
Right. What struck me was the difference in, like, say, the woman that I was speaking to regarding her husband missing and us, is that we have some sort of idea where she was and what was going on during the time of her disappearance and who the people she was with. This woman knows nothing. It's like her husband just up and vanished off of the planet. She knows nothing. They've tried to accuse her adult son, of doing something. And the friend that was there with her was like, that's just ludicrous that they would even suggest something like that. But so, at least we have some sort of direction. And some of these people don't have an inkling where to even start. So I thought that's why a Facebook page for them would be really important. Yeah. To start something like that, to get some people involved who may have seen something and just don't know that they saw something.
It's so overwhelming. Not only are you traumatized because your loved one is no longer there and you don't know where they are, you don't know if they're alive or dead, but then you have to become an investigator. And you have to put aside all of your emotions and all of your, I can't even imagine the overwhelming emotions that you go through when something like this happens. But then you have to put all of that aside to now become an investigator and have people push you down because they don't want you to actually investigate, because then you're shining a light on the fact that law enforcement's not investigating. So you're battling that, and then you're trying to get through this horrific experience with no emotional support. This is a tragedy. This is a breakdown of this society. This is horrific. And I can't believe at this point we don't have an organization, a nationwide organization that is only for missing people. So if your person that you love, one of your loved ones, goes missing, you call this number and they start investigating from that moment. That's what needs to happen.
Even Vincent, the BIA that's helping us, he just let us know this was not handled correctly from the very beginning, which, Lord, we all knew it. But in trying to get help, he's just so flabbergasted too on how disorganized everything was with this case.
Yeah.
Well, not even that. You were also thwarted. I mean, they were telling people lies. I mean, that they were, that they ran away, that they were in Texas, that they were here. All of it was crazy.
Yeah.
Whenever we and Paula and the family had to investigate this or, try and go out there and look, I said, Vincent, it's lucky we didn't get killed. And, he agreed. Because, we could have easily,
Oh, Rob and I say that all the time. It's a miracle you two are alive.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
After all this crazy things you've put yourself in to try to find answers, it is a miracle the two of you are alive.
I can't say as I blame you.
No, we would have done the same thing.
Well, me and Misty have kind of gone over stuff like that before. Over the years, we've talked about some of the crazy things that we've done, nothing illegal. Now, let's just make this clear.
Mm-hmm.
We've not done anything illegal, but that we weren't scared of anybody. We didn't care. It's not like we set out to get killed, or we wanted to get killed or anything, but we wanted somebody to tell us something. We were so fed up.
Yeah.
That was nice. We were so exhausted. We just bawl,
I know.
Because when we were searching, it was dead summer. It was right smack dab in July and August and into September. And those are the first 3 months. We were just out there nonstop. We were dehydrated. We were tired,
and you also weren't trained to do that.
You're not investigators.
So you're just throwing labor at it. You're throwing just pure willpower and labor at it. But, you're just, who would know? I wouldn't know. I've done tons of law enforcement shows. I wouldn't know how to search.
Or even like if it was, especially with all the emotions that you would have at that point, you're not thinking clearly. And I think that's what propelled you to move forward, because you guys weren't thinking clearly. Mm-hmm. You were just motivated.
Your adrenaline at the time, your adrenaline is going because you're so desperate and searching for answers. And every time we went to dig up something, even like a little hill that we would think, she could be here, because, we heard she was, buried, above ground, or, just a little hill. We would go dig it up thinking we seen something and just be delirious. But we're like, it's like your adrenaline's going, and every bit of hope you have is every hole you dig. We had hope, did we not, Paula?
Oh my God, yeah.
This is going to be it. So you're just in your mind thinking, Molly, talk, and I know everybody thinks I'm crazy, but I was, Molly, please tell me where you're at. Give me some kind of sign. Remember, Paula, I would say all the time, give me a sign. Let me
constantly
know way. Remember, Paula, and y'all think, I know she's crazy, but I'd be like, let the wind blow somewhere or something fall down. Just let me know where you're at. And that's how crazy things got during this. You would absolutely run yourself ragged with this.
I'm not an intuitive person. Some people are, and I get that, but I do not have that. I've always been a skeptic of that. But, any help that's come our way, I've not denied it. I'm just going to straight up say, I have not turned it down. I have listened. I have, until I know for sure that I'm putting my efforts in the wrong direction, I listen. And I will say here, it's been about 2.5 years ago, there was a woman who showed up and wanted to go down Long Hollow Road. She just felt the need to go down Long Hollow Road. So I took her. The weirdest thing happened on that trip down Long Hollow Road. And that was when we passed the Nips house, just right past the Nips house, my vehicle was swarmed, literally swarmed with butterflies. They landed all over, and we're all sitting in my vehicle going, what is going on? And none of us had the forethought to grab a phone, and video this, because nobody could possibly believe the amount of butterflies that landed on my vehicle.
Girl, real talk. This whole it's new year, time to reinvent myself trash is not the vibe for 2024. You can find someone who loves you for you, as you are. You don't need to read a stack of self-help books, only eat sad salads, or start meditating at 5 a.m. to be ready for dating. So yeah, my advice is to download Bumble and find someone who embraces you the way you are right now. Let me know how it goes.
Inspired by the life of the savvy and ambitious Colombian businesswoman Griselda Blanco comes a new Netflix original limited series. Griselda tells the story of a devoted mother who, with her lethal blend of charm and relentless savagery, creates one of the most powerful cartels in history. Witness Sofia Vergara's captivating transformation into the godmother of the underworld. Griselda, streaming January 25th, only on Netflix.
And I'm not going to go into detail about some of the things that she told us and that type of thing, but it was just, Molly had been there, and I would, but what Misty was saying, every time, it doesn't matter, every single time, I'm like, Misty, I'm like, Molly, give me a sign. And I'll look up in the trees, and I'll look around and see, if there's something that seems like might be her trying to tell me, if I'm even close. So it's emotionally draining, especially after a search. I think Misty's kind of the same way I am. I just want to be left alone. I don't want to talk, because I think the letdown is so great that it's like you just want to go into a hole, it's seriously.
I mean, it was like when you went and searched the lake, you had the same thing after. Because it just got mired and...
My gosh. That one was horrible for me.
I know.
Yeah.
Misty, that was bad for Misty, too. Me and Misty was just out there telling them, she was yelling at them, bring it up, bring it up, bring it up. Why won't you? And you know what I'm talking about, Misty?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And so that one was rough, and still I'm not over that one.
Yeah.
Because I just feel like we have to go back.
Yeah.
Well, I think the whole thing is, I think everything needs to be searched properly and professionally. You shouldn't be the one doing it.
No, and you shouldn't be there
at all.
No, it's too much.
And I think that's probably the plan here, at least as far as much as I know. So that's hopefully is happening, and I agree with you. I think Vincent is definitely up for the job. I've spoken to him a few times, but I just feel like he's like you said, he's got a very level head about this. He's not listening to anybody. I mean, and
he's committed. And he's committed.
Yeah.
You know what he told us? He said there's 139 cases, and I work on 6 cases at a time. He said, when I saw the case, I pulled that file out, I put it in the saw pile, I put a new case in its place, but Molly's case never leaves the top of my pile, ever.
And he also let us know Molly's case was a high-profile case. So that gave me, I was just like, oh, great. Hopefully, and he's really on this case. He's on it. I'm so impressed with him, and I was so grateful. I left with a good feeling.
Good.
Did you, Paula, when you left?
Oh,
even Macy was talking to Macy, goes, Mom, he's very smart. He is a very highly intelligent man.
Yeah.
So we do have a good guy on our case and on our side. So I feel so comfortable with him.
That's wonderful.
It's the first time in 10 years that we have actually felt at peace and been able to just sit back and let, at this point, we have no intentions of doing any of our own investigation, and anything that, if it was to come to me, I would definitely be turning it over to Vincent. I will not do anything on my own, because I will not do anything to interfere with what he's going on. And I don't know what that might be, but I know there is things going on. So anything at this point would go directly to him. I would not involve myself in that at all.
Yeah. So, that's the good thing, is that he's got plenty to go through, and he's going through it methodically. And it's not being splintered. It's not being splintered between a bunch of law enforcement agencies who are like have their pinky toes in.
And have their egos in.
Yeah, and they have more to lose if it gets solved than if it doesn't get solved. So it's status quo.
Right.
So you have someone who
Right.
doesn't want to do the status quo, and that's great. It's awesome. It's fantastic to know that you have someone who's trained and serious.
And that you can take a step back from this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Misty and I both feel a sense of relief where that's concerned.
Yeah.
So, it's just been the whole experience with the missing persons event is I always come away from that feeling some sort of relief and knowing we're not alone. We have people that if we need to communicate with them, we can, and they will understand. So
Yeah. Well, there's
That's how I
there's
felt.
24,000 other families in the United States. That's the numbers of missing people last year. Like that's how their people are missing. So it's like you're not alone.
Right.
no,
And that's just here in this country.
right.
It's
the saddest thing. I just don't get it. I don't get it, and I never will. And not only, some of these people that are missing went missing because they wanted to go missing, but most of them went missing due to something bad happening to them, and that I can't wrap my mind around all of that. Why there was I would say here in Oklahoma, just the other day, there was an alert put out that these two girls, 14 and 15 or 14 and 16 went missing, and they had only been missing less than 12 hours when that alert went out. And that they were found fairly quickly, but they were deceased along with 5 other people that they found deceased.
I know.
And it's
And
like,
this was in Oklahoma.
Yeah, this
Where
just
was
happened.
this?
This just happened.
it was south of Tulsa,
Mm.
down Highway 75, probably it's less than probably 50, 60 miles. Yeah, I mean, it was like, why? What did those poor little girls do to deserve that? And I don't know who else was found deceased other than the man who killed them all. So there's 4 other people that's deceased. It's like, why? And the meanness that is going on right now, I just can't wrap my head around all of it. And that's the situation with Molly. God,
Yeah.
I just can't wrap my mind around it.
No.
What might have happened to her.
No.
So,
Yeah.
and I think Misty struggles with that as well.
Like I said earlier in the other show that we did, okay, my daughter's getting married this summer. Molly never will have that chance. And that just, it's heartbreaking, that here she is 27 years old. And you often wonder, what would she be like? Would she be married? Would she have kids? And it's so sad that she didn't ever have that chance. Never get that chance. It's just unfair.
It's very unfair. And it's also unfair that the people that did it to her are still out there.
Yeah.
And they don't
And running
have
free.
any
Running
responsibility. They don't have to take any responsibility for anything. And that's unfair.
Well, all I can say is they're coming for you.
Yeah.
The gap is closing.
Well, this is the thing. This case is not going away. Just because we've been quiet for a few weeks doesn't mean we're going away. And you guys are not going away. And I don't believe Vincent will stop until he gets some answers. So
Absolutely.
don't mistake silence for going away.
Inaction.
Inaction.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think a lot of people have.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
that's fine. I mean, the good news is that the BIA and Vincent are on it, and you feel comfortable for it, and we feel comfortable that they have all the stuff. I mean, based upon your conversation with him, you feel great. So there's really, unless there's something to talk about, you don't feel like you have to intercede in anything like before.
Yeah.
That's why we started this podcast, because no one was doing anything.
Mm-hmm. So the
We
podcast.
appreciate
yeah.
y'all very much. Y'all don't even know how much we appreciate y'all keeping.
No, but that was the whole purpose of it, is to let people know what was not being done.
Right.
And that's where And finally, someone decided, hey, listen, this is enough. Something needs to be done.
Well, somebody said to me, I don't even remember who it was, but it wasn't that long ago, 10 years. It is amazing that anybody is even speaking about this case. But, God, I know for me, I can't imagine just going to bed one night and saying, we're just never going to find her. I'm done. I just can't.
Yeah.
Who does that? Who the hell does that? You just cannot just go to bed one night and decide you're no longer going to continue to push every button you can to get somebody that wants to help you as much as you want to find her.
Yeah.
And I think that's where we're at. I think we finally got somebody who wants to find her as much as we do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of people who, not a lot of people, but there's a few people who have become emotionally attached to this case, who just want them both found.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what we need. And thank God.
I know
God
you've had so many black hats in this scenario. If you finally got a white hat.
Yeah. But thank God for you guys coming into our lives to do the other show, and then continue to think about us, and that that you weren't able to do as much as you wanted to for the show, so you wanted just to continue helping us to get it out there. Without you, we couldn't have got it out there, and the people involved now wouldn't be involved in our case. So thank you. And I know Misty was saying that a while ago. Thank you, for all that y'all have done.
You're welcome.
Yeah, we're grateful that we do have good friends like y'all to help us.
Misty and I were talking yesterday, and she asked me if we were all going to be on the phone together. I said, yeah, we're just talking as friends. That's what they are. They're our friends now.
That's nice. Of course.
Oh, that is nice. Of course.
Well, it's hard not to become friends with people who are so committed and determined and loving. I mean, because this is a love bomb you're giving to Molly. I mean, this is a 10-year love bomb. You guys have not forgotten about her. You have put yourself in danger because of her, to keep the flame alive, her life alive, and her image alive. I mean, come on. I mean, it's like
it's amazing what you guys have done, and we respect what you've done, and are always impressed by what you've accomplished. I mean, what you guys have accomplished by yourselves is you can't even put any kind of,
because we dealt with a lot of families like yours, and a lot of them give up, and like a lot of them are saying, like, the Kessie family that. Drew Kessie, he's never going to give up.
He's never going to give up.
He is so determined. That's why you guys remind me of each other. Just so determined. And but there's a lot of families that they let it fade, and some of them have to let it fade in order for them to just continue living. It's too hard, and they have to process that. And I can understand that. I can't even imagine that.
No, I don't. I just see. I would be like you guys. I know Rob would too. We both would. We wouldn't be able to rest until you got an answer.
Yeah. And we like the fact that you're taking action. You're taking responsibility. You're not waiting for anybody else. And I think that was probably the powering thing that you felt that weekend when you went to that event, is that you saw all the other people who are not giving up.
Right.
And you're
Right.
Like, yeah.
And so that's a powerful image. Pure strangers who you're bonded by pain, but you're all determined never to give up. So that was great.
Right.
That's got to be great.
Yeah.
Great feeling. It's a weird fraternity to be in, but it's a powerful one.
Yeah, it is. It's very strange.
Good people. They're good people, just like us. It's good people that just don't know which direction to turn, just like we was in the very beginning. So we understood, and it was heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, you have also something else coming up with Molly's. You have the anniversaries coming up in July. Tell us what's going to be happening there.
Well, I think what we have planned is we want to have a balloon release and a candlelight vigil on actually July the 8th falls on a Saturday this year. So we would like to get together, probably in Love County, have someone there to sing. Me and Misty have kind of talked about some of the things that we would like to have happen there. Of course, we would like somebody to come and preach and talk about Molly, and and just get together and reminisce and talk, and get to know some of Molly's angels, because there's so many out there that I have talked to through Facebook for almost 10 years. I've never met in person, and they've become very good friends. You know what I mean? I would like, for us to be able to have that type of thing, and for people to be able to come that we've never got to meet and who have supported us throughout this. So that's what we are considering. Right, Misty?
Right. And we're trying to get someone to play maybe some music. The last time we had that, we had several bands, or just one man, somebody that just does acoustic. We would like to have some different ones to come out and do some acoustic,
I have a recommendation. Why don't you have Trent Fletcher come out? He wrote a song about this.
I have emailed him, and Trent, I hope you're watching this. You're going to listen to this.
No, he's on my Facebook.
I just
I'll ask
talked to him. I actually just.
Yeah, he's busy.
Do you want us to ask him?
For him to come in.
I
and
actually
sing his
just
song.
talked to him yesterday, so I'll text him and tell him.
Okay.
You guys want to do it?
I certainly do. I don't think he's have seen it yet, but I did. I asked him, and he's just so busy right now. I mean, his career has just took off, so I'm very proud of Trent.
He's awesome.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
friend of mine. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I bet there's people out there who have wrote their own music and wrote their own songs about Molly, or even would just like to sing a song, for Molly, and, we can, that would all be great. I just think that would be awesome, honestly.
That would be awesome.
So, yeah. So, So we'll see. We'll announce that probably early June, what we can get arranged between now and then. We'll have to go through the county commissioners of Love County to get permission and that type of thing again. But I think it would be a great event to have for them.
Yeah.
And do
I
that.
think so too.
Yeah.
Well, ladies, thank you so much for coming on tonight and talking to us about this.
We appreciate y'all helping us so much.
Of course.
Listen, we're not going anywhere.
Exactly. So, we'll look forward to this event in July and see what else starts popping up here in the next couple of weeks, because I feel like things are going to start moving.
Well, it's funny you say that, because I've had a few days, and like I said, I'm not an intuitive person, but I can be an emotional person. And when I just feel out of sorts, or things just seem like things don't seem right, I get very emotional. And these past 2-3 days, I have been so emotional. There's absolutely no reason for me to be emotional, but it's like, what in the world is going on with me? Because I typically do not do this. So it's just been, I just feel like,
well, you've been holding in this trauma for a very long time, and now you have a time to exhale now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think that's
you have help. I mean, you have legitimate help.
Yes. So great.
Yeah.
So it's wonderful.
Yes. All right.
All right, ladies.
I appreciate you guys so much.
Yeah, we appreciate you.
Appreciate you too. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
All right, take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Next time on Partners in True Crime.
In the coming weeks, we have some exciting things happening. We have received dozens of requests from our audience to speak to the corruption in the county. We have heard dozens of stories of how people have suffered because of these abuses of power by elected officials.
We're going to be discussing some of these stories with locals and experts to help initiate some changes in the community. We're also going to create an open forum on the podcast.
We're going to have an episode that is completely interactive. We want to hear from you. What are your questions or thoughts on the case? What would you like to discuss with us? And do you have any information to share?
Please submit your questions or comments with your phone number on the website if you would like to be on the podcast, or you would like us to discuss your question or comment.
You can submit this information confidentially directly on the podcast at the bottom of the first page where it says contact.
We look forward to hearing from you. If you have any information regarding the case, please contact the BIA at www.bia.gov/BIA/missing-murder-unit.
You can also call their hotline with tips at 1-833-560-2065 and email them directly at ojs_mmu@bia.gov.
And if you want to text them with a tip, text keyword BIA-MMU and send your tip to 847-411.
Check the Partners in True Crime website for this and any additional information.
If you or anyone you know is suffering from a methamphetamine addiction, please contact the American Meth Addiction Hotline.
If you or anyone you know has been the victim of sexual abuse, please contact the National Domestic Violence Hotline. All rights reserved. This has been a production of 722 Media Content. Please visit our website where you can subscribe to the podcast, find show notes, and listen to Vi's original song, Take Me Back, written for Molly Miller.